right, 2023 Release Wave 1, or as Michael calls it, 2023 R1. So we've got, these are features that are expected to be released in April. Officially, this release will come out April 1st for on-premise, but some of these new features for BC Online will be deployed anywhere between April 1st and September 30th. So it could be a future month, not in April. But we've got, again, like always, Microsoft has kind of categorized the different changes and improvements and additions into different categories. So we'll kind of go down through those lists of categories. There's 47 total new features listed, and there's this beautiful new web page that Microsoft has put up. It's basically experience.dynamics.com/release plans. The page title is Dynamics 365 and Microsoft Power Platform Release Planner. So you can go in there and kind of click on it, see all the different features and expected release dates and other details on these. So
for all the products, not just Business Central.
Yeah, for all the Dynamics and related products. So we're not going to go through, as we have in the past, all 47 of these. We're not going to name or deep dive on all 47. Instead, kind of go through the categories of these and tell you one or two of our favorite ones or meaningful ones or ones that are otherwise noteworthy that are included. So I will get us kicked off here with the first group of changes, I believe, is at the Power Platform.
And this one is user experiences.
Okay, user experience. We'll go with your list here. So under user experience, the most noteworthy one that I wanted to point out here is one called Add Existing Table Fields to Optimize Your Pages. It's actually expected for preview or release in June, or public preview in June. And here's the key thing. This is why I believe this is important. Up until now, if you're on a page, and let's say you're on a list page, customer list page, and there's a field that you want to add to your list page, you can go into personalize, right? And go to hit add field. Mm-hmm. The field that you want to add may not be listed as an available field to be added. The reason is because Microsoft has decided which fields on that page they want users to be able to add. From the sounds of this, it looks as if all table fields on each table will now be allowed for users to personalize by adding it to their pages. This is huge because so in the scenario where I said today this, you go in and want to add a field. If that field's not there, guess what you have to do to get it there?
Extension.
You have to build an extension, which takes a developer. So
and money,
right? And time.
Yep.
So how long does it take to do it? What does it cost? And what's the long-term impact of that? Now, if all fields on each table are available for now, that power is in the user's hands to control what do they want to have. They can pick from any of those available fields, including custom fields that have been added as well.
So in theory, though, you can add fields that, that do not, that are not applicable to that page. If you can pick from any field?
No, if you're on, for example, if you're on the customer list page, you would be limited to only picking fields on the customer table.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. Now, to your point, are there maybe some fields on there that could create confusion for users because they're not sure what that field is or how that field might be used behind the scenes? That's possible, but that downside is outweighed by the positives of giving the users the ability to add any fields they want. I think this was an idea, a Business Central idea that I'm not sure if I created the idea, but I certainly voted.
Really?
I certainly voted for the idea, if that's how this came into being. So I'm very excited about this one.
Nice.
Did you have
the one I chose,
new user experience?
Well, So it's not really, I guess, a new user experience now. It actually was mentioned in the 2022 release Wave 2 for Business Central, and the public preview was available September 30th, 2022. But I'm one of these guys who's a stickler for production. I like when, excuse me, I like when things help you, I don't know, be more productive and take less time. So I use the Tell Me feature in Business Central, the search feature, whatever you want to call it, all the time for everything.
All the time.
So now that they're basically expanding that feature to where it's you can now search across all data relevant to your role and not just business transactions. So hopefully people become more productive, find things a lot easier, and
Yeah.
it's great.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. All right. What do we got next? Application. All right. Your list is better than the list that I saw on the thing.
That's a big list.
Application, right? This is what users care about. Give me more features, baby. All right.
Absolutely.
So the one that I saw here is set up and sync master data across companies.
We are on the same page, Ken. Same
right.
page.
This is something that we've seen as a request for years. There's been master data software applications out there to help companies manage this. So now what this means is, for example, if you have two legal entities, two companies, but they use the same vendors, and you get a new vendor, you don't have to go in and set up that vendor twice.
Yep.
You can set up that vendor one time and set it to sync automatically with the other company or companies that you have.
Beautiful. That is beautiful.
Oh, it is.
Was that I don't know too much about Nav. Was that a big feature in Nav?
It was a
Possible
big
Nav?
requested feature.
Oh, really?
In Nav.
It wasn't around
Oh
for
yeah.
Nav either?
Why do I have to create? I want to add a new GL account. I've got 5 companies. I've got to go create that GL account 5 times if I want it in all 5 companies.
Wow.
Yes, you do. Right? Unless you've built a customization, or maybe use some third-party app to kind of
sync it or whatever, right?
integrate that data. Yep. So that's huge.
Nice.
My backup, by the way, was one called Ship and Receive Non-Inventory Items on Warehouse Documents.
Well, you being the manufacturing type
This
of
is-
guy that you are.
This is something that we've just run into in the real world where, a lot of times people use non-inventory items for things like warehouse or shop supplies, right? These are things that I buy, like safety glasses, gloves, maybe certain packaging materials. And I still need to create a purchase order to a vendor, and I want to have a purchase price on it, and I want to receive it. But I don't want to track how many I have in inventory, right? I just want to expense it immediately. And that's what a non-inventory item does. However, in the real world, the problem is that here comes this box into the warehouse through the receiving dock, and the warehouse worker wants to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's a non-inventory item, he can't receive it currently on a warehouse document. So you now have kind of a separate procedure for receiving non-inventory items in the warehouse. It seems like this will eliminate that and allow them to just go through their normal receiving process, even though it's a non-inventory type item.
Very nice. Yeah. All right. What do we got next? Uh-oh. Your favorite.
Development. Da, da, da.
Well, yeah, let me start off here. So, obviously, I'm not a developer. And
Obviously.
you're not a developer. Yeah, obviously. Oh, it's obvious. Believe me, it's obvious. Well, maybe with ChatGPT, I could be.
Tomorrow you will be.
Yeah. But I went through and I decided to look at one and see if there's anything on here that stood out to me.
How many you got on this list? 8? About 8
3,
new
4,
things?
5,
9?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10.
Like 10.
Okay, so 10 options for you to pick a favorite from.
Yeah, and I happen to choose attach AL debugger to active session or next session. Now, what's interesting about this choice is that it was actually given its stamp of approval by one of our developers here at Solution Systems, who also, Ken said, chose the same option as his favorite, right?
That's true. So what I did, I separately, without Michael's knowing, went out and asked a developer, one of our developers, Ryan Sullivan, to weigh in on these 10 new features and tell us which one is he most excited about. And I will share with you why he's excited about this in a moment, after Michael shares with us why he's so excited about this new feature.
All right, so first let me read you a couple sentences. It says, the legacy CAL debugger supported attaching to an existing session or to the next session for a specific user. While this has been possible with the AL Snapshot debugger for some time, the standard, more powerful AL debugger in Visual Studio Code is still missing this capability, and it's been a partner asked to fill this gap for a while. Okay, so once I read those two sentences...
You know what I heard there?
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Charlie Brown. Yeah. So once I read these first couple sentences, I thought, you know what? Visual Studio Code is huge for developers now.
Sure.
If they had this in the past with Cal, but they don't have it in Visual Studio Code with AL, it's got to be the go-to choice. And it looks like I was right.
You are correct. Now let me give you a little real feedback. Again, this was from one of our developers, and here is, and I'm going to go ahead and quote here. This will be amazing.
Ooh.
Snapshot debugging, the current method, only captures specific errors, is tedious at best to configure and connect. With the full AL debugger, we will be able to set breakpoints and step through code to isolate specific issues, even when it may not be an error. Currently, in order to perform this type of debugging, we have to make a copy of the production environment in order to utilize the full AL debugger. This is time-consuming and doesn't always yield the same results. Sandboxes are a little bit more lenient on some issues and don't reproduce the same types of issues in some cases. So,
but this is huge.
Yeah. So yeah, as this thing mentions, partners have been asking to fill this gap for a while. So and it seems like it's obvious why. Troubleshooting and resolution of issues significantly faster.
You know, Ryan and I are always on the same page with
beer, you too.
Coding, whatever
you guys
it is.
are just at your hackathons.
Yeah. He's also been on the podcast, so I'll link to that in the podcast. You guys can listen to what he says.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, for once we actually had something meaningful to talk
for development
to say for the new development features.
Yeah, developers gotta hate us when they listen to this show. What do we got next? Legislation? You got anything?
Yeah, there's like an audit file export that you can for if you're audited internationally and have to provide some format. That's about it.
Productive with Microsoft 365.
Oh, productive with I just saw that they're enhancing the experience of the card views in Teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know, making them a little bit easier to read or limiting what data people can see or what they can do on those.
Yeah. It's interesting though because a couple years ago the productive with Microsoft 365 section was filled with different integration type things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But over the last couple of releases, kind of waned out a little bit.
Yeah.
So. You got anything for onboarding?
Onboarding, yeah. So under the onboarding category, just that they're continuing development of the tooltips, the built-in integrated help, and making the tooltips easier to read and understand. So
I do not have a favorite one in onboarding. It's kind of
yeah. So governance and administration is the next category. My top one in here was experience improved app management settings. So currently you can go into the app management page in your admin center and you can see what version you're running of each app in your environment, and you can click on a button and you can update that app if you want. And what they're doing is adding new settings to manage those apps. So specifically specify when updates for apps can be installed automatically, or a single button that you can click to update all apps at once. So
nice.
Nothing earth-shattering, but just continue to improve so users don't end up getting on a really old, outdated version of an app. You can just set it to update automatically, or just hit one button and it updates all your apps.
So on my notes, I put for the include or exclude tables from cloud migration, I put it down here with some question marks, meaning I wanted to ask you. I don't understand. Just because this is government, you can't include. Right? I mean, is it limiting what tables you can? Do you know what tables that you can?
I think this category is governance and
Oh,
administration.
governance. Sorry.
So maybe this is more of the under the administration.
Gotcha.
Where you could have some historical like large table with a ton of data in it, and you don't want to migrate it. Or another good example, we ran into this recently. A customer has like 20 million records in the change log entries table.
Wow.
Well, when you're upgrading from NAV to BC, you do not need to bring 20 million change log entries. Now, that example, we were able to purge those records and move on, but we were lucky in that case. If you're not, this allows you to say, you know what, these tables, don't bring these over. We don't want them.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
What do you got? Power Platform here?
Adapt faster with Microsoft Power Platform.
Yeah. So this one is for me. This is huge. It's the one called Support Dynamic Environment and Company in Power Platform Connector. Now it's due out. It says May, I think.
Yep, 2023.
And here's why this is so important. Today, if you're a Business Central user and you want to create some use Power Automate to automate some things. So let's say you build a really sweet workflow with some rules on approving orders. You as the developer of that automation, you cannot just export that automation and import it into another tenant, because the environment and the company names are embedded within the actual automation itself. So what they've done here, it looks like, is they're creating variables that allow you to basically port these solutions from one environment to the other. So if you what is that? What the hell are you talking about, Ken? Here's what I mean. As a Business Central partner, we can't just create a whole bunch of workflows and then package those together as a solution where we just click a button and put those into a new tenant environment. It has because of the environment and the company all embedded inside there, the variables in there. So now what it looks like is that you will be able to do this. You will be able to build a solution and quickly just port it into a new environment.
So it's a time-saving thing, really. Right?
Well, it's not even a time. More than a time saving. It's like It's like really almost rebuilding the wheel every time you want to use that wheel in a different environment.
Gotcha.
Right now, it's saying you can take that kind of like an extension. Right? Think about an extension. When we code an extension, a customization, like a new report, we can build that new report in a way that it can be. We can just export it and we can import it wherever we want. Right? Into any BC environment. This is getting the Power Platform tools, Power Apps, Power Automate, into a similar scenario.
Very, very nice.
Without having to be a super master of the Power Platform universe.
Which is pretty hard not to be. Oh, your favorite, country and regional.
Oh, country and regional. Yeah, you got your Swedish localization, which I'm guessing the people in Sweden are happy about that, no doubt. But my favorite one is the other one. More countries and regions are added, and can you click on Learn More there? Let's see if we can get this. There we go. So what they're doing, what Microsoft is doing, there's kind of two ways that Microsoft delivers localized versions of Business Central. One is through localizations built and supported by Microsoft, and then there are partner-led localizations, and there is a long list here of new partner-led localizations. It's going to get to be over 130 countries, and I'm embarrassed to admit to everyone here today that there are countries on this list that I have not heard of. My example that I used is Guernsey.
Where's it at?
Yep.
Ghana?
Jersey.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's its own country. I thought that was a city
Look at that.
in the British Isles.
Yeah, there's a lot of things here.
Yeah. San Marino, Sao Tome, and Principe.
I'm sure they're all
Principe.
listeners of the podcast.
We're heavy. We're heavy in San Marino, baby.
Isle of Man. Yeah, so it's kind of misleading, though, right? That Microsoft says they're putting Business Central in all these countries, right? Because most of them are partner led.
Yeah, but I guess, if you're in Andorra and you want to run Business Central, and there's a few tax or regulatory forms and reports or some functions that you need, it's good to know you could run that, and there's an extension or localization extension that you can use that gives you that functionality that you need. Yeah. So that's awesome. Worldwide.
Yeah, it's moving on up. Pretty cool. I think that does it.
Yeah, that's
record time to go over.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I feel good about it. I feel good about it.
You feeling good about going into the next segment?
I do.
Talk about ChatGPT and Microsoft.
I do. I'm not sure I'm ready for 2023 Wave 1 yet, although we got a couple months, right? So this is just the announcement of the new features and the deployment schedule. But I feel like is it time moves faster as you get older?
I was going to say it seems like they come quicker and quicker now as opposed to when it first came out. So
yeah.